Happy Saturday morning to you all, Habitat Gardeners. I'm Grant. I'm a bird nerd. I'm also a horticulturist, and I love doing this stuff. So let me say hello to everyone that is on all of the platforms this morning. Please let me know where you are joining from. If you haven't been here before, what we do on the live streams is really just talk about some of the themes and some of the best strategies that you can employ in your garden, design tips, some of the things that you can think about before you head out to purchase anything. Now, today we're talking about plants to attract butterflies to your garden, following on from what we did last week, where we broadly talked about the kind of conditions you need to have in your garden for butterflies to find it a welcoming place and for them to stick around. When I say butterflies, I'm also talking about moths and any other of the insects that are insectivorous. But any of the other insects that are nectar or pollen feeders, a lot of these plants will serve to attract, obviously, moths like the hawk moths, but also some of the nectar feeding bees and wasps and others. Good morning, Glenn. Glenn's coming to us from Western Sydney at the Mount Annan Botanic Gardens. Lovely way to spend Saturday. I might note, Glenn, it is Shroom Saturday, so we'll get your shroom shot out on Insta and Facebook later on. So make sure you're following the Bird Emergency on Instagram and on Facebook if you'd like to see that. I'll also be on YouTube Shorts, so yeah, it'll be out there. Now, how we're going to do today is I'm going to talk about a couple of genera or genuses of Australian native plants and some non-native plants that you should think about to add into your habitat garden for the purpose of bringing in butterflies. Oh, if you don't know, you can hear. Can you all hear Loz? I've created a new toy for Loz, and he absolutely loves it. All I did was hang a few carabiners together and hang my keys on the end, and he's very, very happy with that. Loz is a rainbow lorikeet that turned up, flew to our place on New Year's Eve while we were live streaming. I should clip that, shouldn't I? I really should clip the genesis of Loz so that I can play it. Anyway, he's in my room on his playpen, having a great time. So I'll talk about a lot of these plant genuses, but because our audience comes from such a wide variety of places, you'll have to get my Substack post, I think, or my Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee post. You won't be charged for it because this is a freebie where I'll put some photos up and I'm working through linking to some of the major retail nurseries that stock some of these things or mail order services. Did any of you catch the news? Some of the major wholesale nursery growers, plant producers, were saying over the week that they can't survive by sending their stock to Bunnings, because Bunnings basically behave like the supermarkets do, and they squeeze the margins. And so I don't know enough about the retail trade at the moment because I've been out of it for so many years, the plant retail trade. But I need to get better acquainted because I I found it hard to find good garden centres that are not Bunnings in many metropolitan locations. But if those growers are getting together and setting up sort of mail order or online small delivery retail buyer services, let's get right behind them. So anyway, enough. Let me get my list up. Now it's a long list, so I'm going to break it up with a video. While I was poking around, I saw a really nice butterfly garden video from Osbreed, and not enough people have watched it on YouTube. So we'll have a look at that afterwards, and I'll break up a lot of this conversation. Okay, we're going to talk about a couple of, well, at least one climber, some of the native grasses, other tufting plants that you can use, some that will probably be familiar to you in names, and some maybe that are not. You know the deal here, though. I'm trying to encourage you to, well, you don't have to take notes because I'll be preparing them for you to download later on. I've also set the easy links up, so let's be honest about the time frame. You're not going to be able to download anything until Monday, but they'll be available on Buy Me a Coffee, Substack, and Patreon. The deal with Substack is you'll have to subscribe to my newsletter to get it, because it will be in a newsletter post. Okay? So you can go to any of those by going thebirdemergency.com/Substack or /Patreon or /Buy Me a Coffee. And in each instance, they will be in a post. And it will include a lot of the material from last week. Okay? So just don't expect it today, because it's not going to be out there. It's not going to be up today. Okay, let's start with one that I'm sure most of you will know, and that is Hardenbergia violacea. Actually, let me set up a banner. This will be better if I just keep doing a banner. I should have thought about this earlier, shouldn't I? If I go back to my list, and that way at least you will know what I'm talking about. Have you all heard of that plant? Hardenbergia violacea, the happy wanderer. It's the climber with the really nice, fresh, bright green foliage. Generally purple flowers, but there is a white variety, and there's also like I think they call it a harlequin variety, which is white and mauve. Excellent plant. Really easy to grow, full sun, part shade. You can grow it as a ground cover. You can grow it cascading over your raised beds, or you can let it climb, and it's really great for so many parts of Australia. So I'm happy to recommend that that species. Now, the next one, I'm probably going to have to do cut and paste. I think is probably quicker. Now, don't forget, I do want to know where you're watching and listening from. I especially want to know if the members of the Riot Squad are here. Goodenia. Now, the one that lives in my area that you would generally use is Goodenia ovata. It's a pea flower, so it's in that pea family. It's a nice bushy shrub. I think they're attractive leaves, but yellow flowers. A medium-sized shrub usually for Goodenia ovata, but there are, I don't know, a dozen or so goodenias that you'll find in cultivation. So let's again. There'll be more information in the in the newsletter post, which is let's see. Now you'll all know this. Let's get this one up. If you don't know this, I'm going to have to go back to, well, I'm sure you all know the acacias or the wattle. Now, there's, I don't know, I think there's well over 700 species in Australia. There's trees, there's shrubs, there's ground covers, there's improved cultivars, like the, what do they call it, the mop top. There's a whole heap of really widely available, well-known acacias for wherever you are. Wherever you are, there will be an acacia to suit you. They're very commonly available in indigenous nurseries if you've got one nearby or can find one that's convenient for you. And lots of the really small insects like acacias, and a lot of insects lay their eggs on acacias. And they're valuable because many of them are prickly. And so they're a refuge plant, not only for your butterflies. Really, really good. The prickly, dense acacias are great for when butterflies and moths are going through the pupae stage and they're having the cocoons. So, because they're quite protected. But those plants are also great for what we call the little brown birds in your garden, you know, the fairy wrens and the thornbills. And if you've got visitors like silver eye coming through, and if they're, if you're lucky enough to get them breeding, but you're going to be in North Australia for that to be happening. Excuse me while I keep my coffee fuel coming up. Now, let's see if we can grab a couple of other style of plants. Let's go down. I've spelt that wrong, haven't I? Let's get rid of that for a minute. Here we are. Now, you'll probably know this one. Dianella. Tufting, clumping, grass-like plant, or it's a lily-like plant, really. Dianella are terrific for insects that want to feed on the flowers. But then also there is a drupe, a fruit that they produce later on. Lots of grubs and some caterpillars will eat Dianella fruit and leaves. And then, of course, some of the birds will be into eating the Dianellas. But Dianellas, there are, again, lots of improved cultivars, available. And you should be able to find many of the just species out there. Dianella longifolia, Dianella tasmanica, Dianella revoluta are three that you commonly see in the trade. But again, you got to download the goodies, and we'll get to that next. We'll have a look at another tufting one, or I'll mention another tufting one. Where are we? Come on. You'll all know this one probably, but it's a again, another tufting, strap leaf, really, really hardy plant. used in many landscape applications for parks and roundabouts and shopping centre car parks and all those kind of places. Bordering footpaths, you'll see them around train stations. Really widely used plant. Is utilised in most of the life stages for insects as well. Butterflies use them as a plant where they can lay their eggs and also seek refuge in that pupae metamorphosis stage. So, now I feel like I'm just rabbiting on. I want to show you a video, and I'll probably interrupt it a million times, but let's do that. I want to give really due credit to Ausbreed. They've put a lot of time and effort into selecting plants for the landscape and the garden trade, and I think if they're doing good work, we should sort of support them, and we shall. Comment. Stan. Hello, Stan on Kangaroo Island. Good to see you. You would certainly have Lomandras growing wild on KI. No doubt about it. Probably Lomandra longifolia will probably be the one there, but again, you'll just have to wait for my handout. I'll let everyone. No, we'll watch the video and then we'll talk a bit more about some other plants. And look, if you're a regular, or even if you're not, if you're brand new, say hello. That's the idea of doing the live stream on the Saturday morning. I could easily just go and do a fixed video and cut in lots of pictures and do that, but then you don't get the opportunity to ask a question if you're not sure about something, or if you would like me to look into something else. I'm happy to field any kind of question in gardening, horticulture. It doesn't have to be about butterflies this morning. And I especially want someone on X, because apparently there's lots of you watching. And I just want one of you to prove to me that you're not a bot. That would be very, very, very nice. Otherwise, hello Facebook. Glenn's on Facebook. Hello Twitch, and hello YouTube. All right, are we ready? Are we ready for this? Let's get this one up and running. Do let me know if you cannot hear this video. I've been trying to find who this is. Let's hopefully he's going to tell us. Let's go.
Are you trying to attract butterflies into your garden? Maybe this is the first time you've ever had a go at this, or maybe you've tried again before and you haven't been very successful. Either way, in this video, I'm going to give you everything that you need to know to get started, because we've already covered the open landscape is a little bit of a desert, and our native butterflies really do need an oasis. Attracting butterflies is a lot more than just giving them a bunch of flowers, because they actually have a few different lifestyles that we need to take into consideration. In this video, I'm going to give you everything you need to know to get started, from creating a nice habitat for them, climate, sunlight, host plants for the caterpillars, pollination services. We'll go over a few of the best Aussie native plants the butterflies will absolutely love. Let's get straight into it. So why should we attract butterflies anyway? Let's face it, they're just delightful. Who wouldn't want to be surrounded by butterflies in their garden? Flowers are great, sure, but having butterflies flying through them is just an absolute joy. They provide crucial pollination services, and we need to keep them around for our native wildlife, so having a bit of a refuge in the city is actually going to help out natural habitats as well. And if it's not you and I who are creating this habitat for the butterflies, when we talk about life cycles, there are really 4 life cycles in the butterfly's life that we should be talking about. So first of all, butterflies start as an egg, and they start out life on a host plant. So we'll talk about the host plant.
Is that any louder, folks? I just boosted up something, but let me know if that is any louder. Otherwise, we're going to have to. I'm going to have to wait until everything's redesigned, which will be next week, where I'll be streaming in vertical at the same time. But for today, we're stuck with this setup. What? That went quieter, really? Really? Can't believe it. All right, I'll go. Okay, well, we'll go back to the original setting, and I don't know what. Well, let's see.
So that egg hatches into a larvae, which is a caterpillar. That caterpillar will then feed on that host plant. So that's the first two life cycles. But then we've got a pupa. So after the caterpillars really gorged themselves on those host plants, they're going to use their silk, or different butterflies will use different methods. Sometimes they'll sort of cut up different parts of leaves and attach them, but they're going to have what we call a chrysalis. So that's a pupa or a cocoon. We've all read The 100 Caterpillars as kids, I'm sure. So obviously after that cocoon opens up, they're going to emerge as a butterfly. Don't help them in that phase because they really enjoy themselves. If you try and help them out of that cocoon, one, they're probably not going to be ready to come out, and two, they're not going to develop the muscles that they need. So that process of emerging out of the cocoon is really important that they go through that. As they emerge as an adult, they're going to have wet wings and they're going to need to let that dry out, and then they're just going to flutter away and start the next life phase. I don't know how they know what to do after that, but they just do. They just already know what to do. So then they're going to go and, pick up some pollen from the flowers if they can find some. And then they're going to lay eggs, and the whole cycle is going to start over again. Once it attaches to them, that's just incidental. Really, what they're after is that nectar. They want to drink that sugar water, and then they're going to take that pollen from one flower and then bring it to another. So what are some of the best flowers that they really like? Stereotypically, people say that they really love purple, and it's true, they do love purple and blue flowers, but you'll also find them on all sorts of different colours. Like you'll find them on white flowers, yellow flowers, red flowers, pink flowers. They're not going to be that. However, there are, in saying that you're going to find some particular butterflies have specialised pollination, so they really have evolved with these codependent relationships with different flowers and butterflies. And you're also going to want to avoid harsh chemicals, in particular broad spectrum pesticides, because they're not going to be able to differentiate between beneficial butterflies and pest butterflies. Those are really definitions that we've given as humans, and they're not very helpful in the garden. A lot of what we're going to be talking about in this video will actually be conducive to an integrated pest management approach. So it's stuff like making sure that your plants are healthy, putting a lot of small flowers in that are going to be great for introducing stuff like micro wasps that are going to lay eggs in the pest's head. So it's not just butterflies that you're going to be attracting, it's all sorts of native insects that are going to be very beneficial to your garden and help to keep those pests away, because a biodiverse garden is a healthy garden, and pests are actually very important in terms of the food chain. Like
I'll just bring that back. You did hear. You're hearing it now. Okay. I did tweak a few things. Just I can turn them up a little bit. Just do confirm that it was easier to hear. Giving them all a big boost now. So let's go back, and I just backtracked.
you're going to find some So they really have evolved with these codependent relationships with different flowers and butterflies. And you're also going to want to avoid harsh chemicals, in particular broad spectrum pesticides. What we're going to be talking about in this video will actually be conducive to an integrated pest management approach. So it's stuff like making sure that your plants are healthy, putting a lot of small flowers in that are going to be great for introducing stuff like micro wasps that are going to lay eggs in the pest's head. So it's not just butterflies that you're going to be attracting, it's all sorts of native insects that are going to be very beneficial to your garden and help to keep those pests away, because a biodiverse garden is a healthy garden. And pests are actually very important in terms of the food chain. Like they sort of live on the bottom of the food chain, and without those pests, you're not going to get the predatory insects that live on the higher levels. And then obviously you're going to have birds that are going to eat different phases. So you actually need a few pests in your garden for it to be healthy. So once you have all this in place, you're going to want to start monitoring and making sure that things are actually progressing in the way that you want to. And just all around see which plants are doing the best and which species of butterfly are really going strong in your garden. So now without further ado, let's have a chat about some of the most prolific flowering and best pollinator attracting flowers, especially for butterflies.
Okay, so this is a pretty important section. But Stan, just confirm that that video is louder now, and you can you can hear, and it's worth going through with the rest of it. Because if you can't hear it, I may as well just talk about it. But I thought, hey, Osbreed guy's pretty cool. Let's see if you're still here. All right, cool. Okay, so I did. Thanks. Stan can't hear it. Oh, you can't hear it now because I'm not playing it, but you can hear it better now, Glenn. Okay, I don't know why it's not going out to YouTube probably. Just
So fan flowers, in particular pink fusion and purple fusion scabola. So these are fan flowers that are really, really, really strong and hardy. And in fact, probably pink fusion.
now, of course, they're only going to talk about in this video the particular Osbreed variety that you can find out in the nursery. But Scaevola, there's at least a dozen species which will do the trick, and you'll get them from white flowers through to pink, mauve, right through. There's some blue Scaevolas as well. So, but they've all got this fan flower shape. Most of them are ground covers or small tufting bushes, like that will form either a mat or a mat/carpet, or will also form a little mound. But I'll give you more details of my favourite Scaevolas in the written bit.
Scabola is one of the best Aussie natives that have ever been bred in terms of prolific flowering. So this one's really just going to keep going and going and going and going. It's tough. It can deal with wet feet, drought, sand, clay. You can just really basically put it anywhere, and it's just going to go off all year round. It's a great Aussie native plant to use. Blue gem Westringia. So this one is actually one of the most prolific flowering Westringias that we've ever come across. It's really, really prolific in spring, and then it'll sort of flower throughout other times.
Now again, Westringias, and this actually, I won't need to cut and paste so many of the genuses I was going to talk about. Westringias you'll find all over the place, also known as the coast rosemary. There's a good, I don't know, again, at least 10 that are out there. They can be medium shrubs right down to small tufting shrubs. There's even a ground cover Westringia that I've seen in the trade. The same attractiveness holds true for all of these ones. Blue gem, of course, again is the Osbreed selected form with the plant. See that PBR, plant breeder rights.
So it has really beautiful blue flowers, and we know that a lot of butterflies particularly like blue and purple flowers, so that's a great option. Monday Westringia, so that one's got the white flowers, another really prolific flowering one. It grows
So that's a selected form of Westringia fruticosa.
Low to the ground, great as a ground cover. You can prune it if you want to. Low maintenance, you don't have to prune it if you don't want to. Let it keep that natural shape. Looks beautiful. In terms of callistemons, I'd really like to talk about the Burst series. So this is a brand new range that Osprey have just brought out recently. They're doing really well in testing, and they've got a bunch of different colours from white to baby pink, fluoro pink, a bunch of different colours. Particularly, I'd like to talk about Candy Burst, which has those dark pink bottle brush flowers, and also Sweet Burst, which has baby pink flowers, and you've never seen bottle brush.
I think I just worked out who this is. I reckon this is a guy that used to come in on the my streams. That would be one. Does anyone recognise him from when Holly and I invited him on a couple of times?
Brushes that are as beautiful as these, trust me. Grevilleas also go really hard for butterflies, so we've got stuff like cherry cluster.
Okay, I don't mind that they're pushing all of the Osprey plants at all. I don't mind that because most of them are really, really hardy plants. And hardy's a very inexact term that we use in horticulture, but they're generally really adaptable in most garden settings. I'm sure that's Dan. Anyway, I'll just pull it back a little bit because mentioning a bunch of callistemons. Callistemon salignus is a really great one because it's often flowering when not many others are, but all the callistemons will be great. Callistemon Little John, surprisingly, is really insect attracting. I've seen the small, really small moths getting into it.
White to baby pink, fluoro pink, a bunch of different colours. Particularly, I'd like to talk about Candy Burst, which has those dark pink bottle brush flowers, and also Sweet Burst, which has baby pink flowers. And you've never seen bottle brushes that are as beautiful as these, trust me. Grevilleas also go really hard for butterflies, so we've got stuff like cherry cluster, Grevillea. So that's going to be like lots of flowers through autumn, winter, spring. And another cultivar is Crimson Grevillea. So probably the best winter flowering plant in the whole world. And again, we've got flowers right through autumn, winter, and spring on these Grevilleas. Correas are another great butterfly attracting.
I just got to make a point too. This must be the fashion statement that those of us in horticulture like. It's the black t-shirt look. Anyway, I just thought I'd draw your attention to that. I've got to go back. I wasn't paying attention. That's a really nice Grevillea too, I must say. Grevillea rosemarinifolia, one of the first Grevilleas that came into cultivation. Still one of the best. Doesn't matter which form you get. There's some really small ones out there. There's a green flowered form, which is fantastic. Really voluminous in its nectar production. It's a terrific form. You'll find a little pink one, baby pink, pink pearl. There's a stack of them out there. It's a great plant. Again, prickly. So it's a great refuge plant for birds, but a lot of insects use it as a host plant for caterpillars, for laying their eggs and then for caterpillars to feed on.
Right through autumn, winter, and spring on these Grevilleas. Correas are another great butterfly attracting flower. So we've got coastal pink Correa alba. If you're in a coastal area that really gets a lot of that salt and wind and you're really trying to protect it from butterflies, coastal pink Correa is going to be really good for that because you're going to be able to withstand those conditions and provide some shelter for those butterflies, and as well as some of those beautiful pink flowers that they're going to love to drink nectar out of. Firebells Correa. So this is another really good Correa. It's actually not a good one for a hedge because it's quite.
Stan, this is for you. Any Correa that you can lay your hands on is excellent. You'll often find insects are laying their eggs on the underside of Correa leaves. Correa leaves have a texture that many of the predatory insects don't like. They won't walk over the coria leaves. And again, so it's a great refuge plant, really useful. You'll find them in all sorts of sizes, up to medium shrubs, down to mat forming ground covers, small tufting plants. Terrific. Can't go wrong with a coria.
Absolutely stunning plant, great for small spaces, great for ground covers, and very much a pollinator attracting plant. As I mentioned, attracting butterflies isn't just about those pollination services, it's also about giving the larvae or the caterpillar something to actually feed on. So we want something of those adult life phases, something that mum can lay her eggs on, and we need to provide that food. So stuff like grasses, particularly native grasses, are great. So Kingsdale Poa is a really good one. We've got some blue foliage, great host plant for a wide range of different butterflies. Going to attract those native butterflies. Perfect for coastal areas again, so if you've got some of that salt around, it can sort of withstand that. Native Pennisetums are another good option. Pennisetums get a bad name because we do have some invasive ones, and some of our native ones as well can be quite virile with their seeds, can be quite weedy. So that's why I recommend something a bit more like the Nephrae Pennisetum, which isn't going to have those seeds that are going to be quite virile. So a much safer one in terms of weed sterility.
I think I mentioned a lot about this last week. Sometimes, particularly Pennisetum, the cultivars are better if you're in an area where weed potential is out there. I would particularly note that Pennisetum allopecuroides in the wild form is very bad if you're near. Just that one's very bad. You'd be better off sticking with Poas and Themidas and Danthonias. Although I think Danthonia is now in a different genus. Anyway, let's finish off with the last bit that Dan's got to say.
It's a very tough plant, good for erosion control, and it's also non-invasive, so that's not a problem. Butterfly gardens aren't rocket science for us, so we really just need something for the mums to lay their eggs on. That's a host plant. Native grasses are really good for that. Each different native butterfly is going to have their own preferences in terms of the host plant. Then we're going to need something for the adult form to feed on, so that's those nectar services. We're going to need for them to have some sunlight, access to somewhere to sun themselves, to warm up their wings because they're cold-blooded, so they really do need a little bit of help warming up. We're going to need some protection from wind, give them some water, and just give them some Aussie plants. So remember, plant diversely, give them a lot of different stuff, plant the same colours together to attract them, plant abundantly, give them lots, so just a few plants here and there aren't really going to do it. We're really going to want to go for that wild look with lots of different native plant species. And also, don't forget about your exotics, because butterflies, a lot of the time, yes, the native plants are great, but they're not going to look at an exotic plant and go, oh, I'm not interested in that. That's not an Australian native. That's a term that we put on them. Yes, there are some particularly strong pollinator plant relationships. Not all pollinators are like that though. Some of them are actually very happy to stick to the exotic plants or the native plants. Most of all, just have fun with it, because butterflies are a pleasure in the garden, and it's a really fun thing to do to build that habitat. Are you trying to attract butterflies into your garden?
Stop. That'll be enough. I endorse nearly everything there that Dan said. It follows on from what we were saying last week. A tidy garden is the enemy of just about all of the wildlife. So, planting abundantly, I agree with that. That doesn't mean that you need to put in 25 or 30 large callistemons. Most people just don't have space for that. But then you get a tufting plant, and you get a long leafy plant, you get a strappy plant, you get some ground covers. And that's why one of the themes of this show will be about propagating your own plants easily, because you go broke if you're trying to fill up a garden in many cases. One of the plants I wanted to talk about was a Pratia, Pratia. Now you'll see that in many, many, many gardens, just sold in a little pot as a ground cover. But Pratias are fantastic. If you buy a 6-inch pot, you can straight away divide it into 4, and off you go. And they'll have little blue flowers and little white flowers. But the same with the native violet, Violaceae heteracea. But also, if you've got access to the wood violet, the traditional, well-known, famous mauve violet, maybe in family member garden. They're so easy to propagate. You just ask someone if you can dig up a ice cream container full of, just get a sharp spade, dig it out, take it home. I'll just whiz through some of the other really well-known genuses that you should be able to find out there. Now, there's the 2 paper daisies and everlasting daisies. So Helipterum are what's known as the paper daisy, sometimes snow daisy in Australia, and the Helichrysum or Helichrysum, the everlastings, straw everlasting, I think, is one of the common names that you'll find them out there everywhere. Lots of different colours. The seed is available as well. But again, with those, if you buy a plant and pop it in the ground and it does well, you can divide it up. So you can multiply the number of plants you have quite easily like that. Now, you'll know Leptospermums, they're the tea tree. Hundreds of varieties. You got prickly leaves, you got smooth leaves, you got glossy leaves, you got hairy leaves, you've got prostrate form, you've got cascading form, you've got fastigiate, upright forms, you've got branching open forms. Leptospermum, tea tree. Really, really great plant. Again, a food tree, a shelter tree if you get some of the larger ones for the butterflies, and providing lots of nectar as well. Stan, can you still hear Loz going on over here? Kunzia. You'll find Kunzias all over the place. Hovias. Hoya. That's another light climber. Let's have a look here. What else have we got? Metrosideros. Now, the New Zealand Christmas tree, Metrosideros or Christmas bush, Metrosideros tomentosa, closely related to the Melaleucas. That's available, but we also have native Metrosideros, and you'll find that everywhere. The native daisy bush, Illyrias. Illyria, Flagopapa, Illyria tomentosa. They've got little daisy flowers, but they can be a big bush, they can be a small bush, they can be a spreading bush. If you want some really interesting foliage, you can get the alpine form, which is Illyria ilicifolia, I think. Let's have a look here. Another little native lily in the lily family, Pattersonias. Oh, what else have we got here? Pimelia. I'm sure you'll have heard of the Pimelia. Pomaderus. Stan, you've probably got Pomaderus on Kangaroo Island, a local form there. Restio, another one of the grass-like, I think it's sort of in the rush family. Lots of varieties, again, really good for a wet, damper spot. Also anywhere that periodically is floods. What else have we got here? Lots more of the pea flower, Pultonea, Hovia. Another one in the myrtle family, Hymenosperm. You'll find that all in nurseries, regularly available. Let's have a look. What else have we got here? Well, we've got the Westringia. We've talked about that in the video. Spiridium. Oh, look, there's just so many. Another one of the pea flowers, Eustaxia. Epacris, the little native heath. The pink heath for Victoria. Epacris longifolia, the red and white one from New South Wales. They're rippers. Dampira, if you want some red flowers. Dilwinia, yellow or orange, more pea flowers. Eustaxias, pea flowers. In the egg and bacon plant, they were often called. What else did I make here? Oh, the fringe myrtle. Calitrix. Bursaria. Stan, you'll have Bursaria spinosa on Kangaroo Island, I would say. The little native daisy, the brachycomb. There's so many. So I'm going to kind of stop there in terms of reading out the names. Stan, at this time of year, the object is to just help them survive, would be my thoughts. But it's a good time if you're interested in doing any propagation. It's a good time to be getting hold of some seeds or perhaps even taking some cuttings. We'll talk more about that in coming weeks. But you know the rule, where it's dry and the conditions are tough, mulch, and deep watering once in a while. The bucket is a great thing. If you've got a lot of mulch, you can pull the mulch back, create a bit of a well, pour in the bucket, let it slowly infiltrate, and then cover with mulch or drip irrigation. That's actually, let me ask you all about this. How are you irrigating? How do you water your garden? Glenn, if you're not taking a tour at the moment and you can answer that, let us know. Stan, how do you? What did you do while you were away? Did you just rely on Providence? Did you just hope that that the weather gods would be nice to you, or did you organise a neighbour to come and turn on a tap or a hose once in a while, or did you have automatic timer organised? Tell us. I'm really interested to know. Now, I'll just tell you, after Easter, Fiona from Mallee Conservation will be joining us on the stream, and we're just tying up a couple of days, but there are a number of really interesting guests who will be joining me on the stream. And here's what Glenn says for Mount Annan. Oh, this is at home. Sprinkle irrigation system, 10 minutes per cycle, once every 3 days. On hot days, you'll water manually selected areas. Okay. Now, have you got those little micro sprays, Glenn, or have you got like the trickle tube or something like that? Interested there. And yeah, coming on after dark, always a good idea. I used to like watering early in the morning, come on about 3 or 4 a.m. Loz is really carrying on over there now. Very funny. And Stan, mainly with the sprinkler, you should see my water bill. I got my neighbour to water the veggies, but the rest of the plants are on their own. You do know, Stan, maybe next week we might talk about irrigation. Sprinklers are absolutely the worst way to be watering, unless you are wanting to be providing something for the birds to come and play in. You lose. I'm going to suggest about 1/3 of the water to evaporation. It just does not infiltrate to the root zone unless you leave it on for a long time, which is why you get a very, very, very large water bill. maybe next week we'll do irrigation. I think that would be a good idea. I'll just talk about the methods and some of the efficiency and how irrigation tied in with mulch is one of the most important things you can do when establishing a garden and when it comes to survival in times of drought. Hopefully next week we'll actually have the vertical stream going. I can see it over here, but it's not. I haven't got all the production tricks down well enough to get going. There we are. Stan says the birds love the sprinkler. That was when I had my nursery, which I think I've mentioned to you, backed onto state forest on two sides. It had reserve. I would put the sprinkler on really hot days near my constructed stream, and the birds would come in from everywhere just to enjoy it. Some birds like the spray more than they like a bath. So yes, it's good for that reason. I like the little misty spray heads for that. Creates humidity. But yeah, drip irrigation. I think that's what we might talk about, the options for drip irrigation and some of the micro emitters. I'll have a look at what's available, what's easily available for people to buy, and then we'll compare them all, and we'll look at some of the usage, like the outputs of the drippers or of the spray heads, and what the plants actually need. And you might find that you can actually reduce the amount of watering you're doing, save some money, which is important, isn't it, nowadays? Okay. I haven't got much more for you today other than to remind you on Monday, should be live on Monday morning, thebirdemergency.com/Patreon or /Substack or /Coffee, should be able to get the handouts then. In the community post on YouTube, I will pop the link when it's up, when they are published, because it's still a work in progress on all of those sites at the moment. And I want to make it easy for you. You don't need... I'd probably prefer, if it's just to subscribe, just to get these handouts, that you went to Substack, because it has a much better distribution system. But I don't care. And over time, it'll sort out what people want to use, and that's where I'll direct everyone to. A reminder too, if you can, subscribe on YouTube, and there'll be many more YouTube-only offerings, and I will be doing videos a lot like you saw the Ausbreed one. That was just Dan in front of a green screen reading a script and then putting visuals in behind. I can do that. So yes, we will be going on with that. But for this channel, for these live streams, I really want to keep them conversational rather than tutorial, and to be bringing guests in from now on. Stan says we should do a live stream video from dial in from your yard. Stan, we should, but I've also got an idea. Since you do not have any drip irrigation and you would like to install some, I'm going to try and organise something, and yes, I'll just leave that there. We will. I'm going to reach out and see what I can do, and yes, we will take it from there. Anything else people want to bring up? I really did want to show that video because I thought it was, well, for one, they've taken the time to do it, and Ausbreed are really supporting this idea of habitat gardening, wildlife gardening. They've really got behind it. pushing it more into the landscape and the broader, landscape contractors and stuff like that. But hey, I'm going to support anyone who's spreading the message. Folks, I am going to play something else. Which one is it? This one? Just before we wrap up, because I saw this morning early on, and it made me laugh. Made me laugh so much, but also made me a bit angry as well. So we're right back to the start here. Yes, we are. I try and keep my politics stuff out of these Saturday mornings, but I think this one, this is so good, it needs to be talked about. So, please do enjoy the Honest Government ad, Visit Tasmania, only released overnight by Juice Media.
Visit Tasmania, land of wilderness and home to countless vanishing wonders. Affordable rents, Year 12 completions, the swift parrot, and of course, Liberal governments. That's right, after being driven off the mainland for being utter bastards in every other state and territory, Tasmania is a refuge to the last Liberal government in Australia, which is why here at the Tasmanian government, we're very much shitting our dacks about the coming election. Hello, I'm from the Tasmanian government. We've been running Tassie for the past 10 years, and as you'll discover on your visit, we've left no corner of this island unfucked. 1 in 4 Tasmanians live in poverty. Half of us can't read good. Shit tons are homeless, and our hospitals are so full the sick have to wait in ambulances, and lots of them died. But nobody's been betrayed more than our youth, many of whom have suffered human rights and sexual abuse under our watch, in hellholes like this. Have we closed the hellhole? No. But we have promised to crack down on youth offenders. Will this populist wank address the causes of youth crime? Nope. Will it send even more kids to the hellhole? Yup. But that's a price we're willing to pay to win this election. 'Cause we're a government with heart. Yes, Tasmania, we know you want us to fix all this. We hear you. That's why, if elected, we'll invest this much in health, housing and education. Just kidding. We'll blow it all on a fucking stadium. Sure, it'll cost over $1 billion after the inevitable cost blowout, which you're on the hook to cover. But look, it'll have a roof over it. Unlike Hobart's homeless people. Okay, so it's a shit deal. But we have to do it, because the AFL said, if you build it, we will come. And here at the Tassie government, when outsiders tell us to sell out Tassie, we do it. That's why we're letting these foreign-owned companies farm Atlantic salmon in our waters. Sure, they're shitting all over our marine life, pushing the Maugean skate to extinction, contaminating our shores with antibiotics and firing explosives at seals. But look at the benefits for Tassie. Despite billions in profits, the tax they've contributed these past 3 years comes to approximately fuck all. Maybe that's why we've had to slash millions from your hospitals, which, unlike the salmon industry, is a major creator of Tassie jobs. Are they at least responsible? Fuck no. TasSal's Canadian owner was kicked out of Washington state for breaching environmental laws there. And Huon's Brazilian parent company is linked to illegal deforestation of the Amazon. Oh, and its owners bribed almost 2,000 politicians. Cool and normal. Why are we selling out Tassie to these shit stains? Rest assured, it's got nothing to do with those $4,000 a head fundraising dinners we hosted for them. But that's not all we're selling out. Visit Takaina, where we're letting this Chinese state-owned mining company build a dam to dump its toxic tailings. Fuck you, Master Owl. Visit the Styx Valley, where we've extended native logging to 2040, so this can be turned into paper, coffee cups and shit tickets. Fuck you, Swift Parrot. Does logging native forests help our economy? Oh, sweetie. Our state forestry runs at a huge loss, which means you are paying to destroy your own natural heritage. Fuck you, Tassie taxpayers. Sure, the federal government gave us millions to conserve our native forests, but we're gonna log them anyway. Fuck you, taxpayers on the mainland, even though they are critically important carbon sinks to combat global warming. Fuck you, world! When you put all this together, you might be thinking of not voting for us at the coming election. Thankfully, you can also vote Labor, because they're almost as good as us at selling out Tassie, making deals with the pokies lobby, extending native forest logging, keeping our political donation laws weak, we keeping the hellhole open, building the bullshit stadium, and being shills for multinational salmon companies. TasSal, approved by Albo. Whatever you do, don't visit this site, which shows which candidates to vote for if you want a government that serves Tassie rather than these guys. So vote wisely, Tasmanians, cause this election you will decide if the last of the Liberal governments will stay or be wiped off the map of Australia. You know what to do, Tasmania. Please, we'll even throw in a chocolate fountain. Visit Tasmania. Come down for shit fuckery. Authorised by the Department for Bread and Stadiums.
Yes, I have to say, it just grabbed my attention because I was livid. I was livid watching Channel 7's news last night, where they were talking about the election. If people vote for the Greens or the Independents in Tasmania, it means they're voting against the football team. And of course, they're not voting against the football team. They're voting against the fact that the state government is going to pay for most of the stadium, which is for an AFL club. AFL can... There's already 2 stadiums in the state they can use, and the AFL can build their own friggin' stadium. But yeah, I think Stan says vote Greens, I say. I think Greens are independents as long as they're not one of the loony right-wing independents. But Juice Media got that just right, didn't they? With it, fuck you, Master Al. Fuck you, Swift Parrot. And you know, I don't want these Saturdays to be really political, but hey, the petrochemical exemptions for the new Environment Protection Biodiversity Act is being touted by the ALP at the moment. So they want to get the exemptions in before they do the laws, which just goes to show they're completely captured. And look, forestry has captured the Tasmanian government like you wouldn't believe. So yeah, fuck you, Swift Parrot. Exactly. You got it dead right there, Juice Media. They are amazing. I saw they're heading up to 1 million subscribers on YouTube now. So great work. They're excellent. I love their stuff. So let's get on to something positive. I really hope that next time we do this, I'm doing a proper stream to all the verticals, so people watching on their phones and stuff can happily watch on the verticals. Stan, I'm rejigging the channel so that it's more TV friendly, and with a few more better sort of thumbnails and stuff. So I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts on how it looks on such a big screen. Well, I'm assuming you've got a big screen TV. So, yeah, do let us know. Let's see. We've still got... Oh, Twitch is still here. Twitch, talk to us. Glenn, enjoy your rest of the weekend. I'm going to be just playing around doing stuff in the studio, trying to get things all up and lovely, and then I'll start making some of those videos like Osbred. Stan, fantastic. Have you, Stan, while you've been looking at the Bird Emergency channel, have you seen any of the new thumbnails that I've been trying out? The Photography Friday ones, particularly. I don't think I've got any of the Grant and Holly ones. I don't think any of those are up live yet, but I'm trying a few more things out because good on you, Glenn. I want to catch up with you next week again, Glenn, too. Talk about something. So remind me if I get lost in it. I've got to say, YouTube, since I've added a lot of playlists and things like that. And since I tidied up the channel a little bit, Stan, thanks. Because I'd just left, I really had just been doing the live streams, trimming off the front of the live streams and not doing anything else. I hadn't tagged them, I hadn't improved the titles or anything. But once I started playing around with it, in the last, I think 15 days, YouTube had put me in front of about 1.5 million people. So that's great. Cool. Thanks, Glenn, thanks for paying attention today and commenting. Of course, I love it when people are commenting. Hopefully, what do you reckon, Stan? You're not doing Twitter/X, are you? So I'm inclined to think I'm always getting lots of these views for the live streams on Twitter, but nobody comments, nobody asks a question. So, I think Loz thinks it's. I think that's how badly Twitter is being botted now. I just think it's all a bit fake. So Stan, when you gave us this comment that the thumbnails are great too, did you mean those Photography Friday ones that I updated with the gradient background and everything? Like on the big screen, do they look really good? Stan says he's not on Twitter, only Threads and Insta. I've given Threads away. I don't get any utility out of it. But we're going to give the streaming on Insta a real go now that I've got I think I've got the OBS set up that I can present everything that we are watching on. I think we can do that nicely enough. But tell us if you were looking at those thumbnails for Photography Friday. I really regret not spending the time years ago when we started doing all this. Even with the Holly ones where I wasn't writing proper descriptions and everything. But going back and doing it now, it's giving me the opportunity to trim up and clean up them. I'm just letting you all know that there'll be so much more focus on YouTube and putting all that work in, and we might be simultaneously streaming to everywhere else. Stan, this is an interesting comment. You have to take the time on Threads and build a community. But do you actually get people interacting? Because I'm past caring about how many people view and sort of watch. I want people to be interacting. That's the strength of this kind of stuff. So you like those Photography Friday thumbnails. I think they look good, and especially the idea is to get someone who hasn't talked to us before, click on them, and then the idea is by upgrading the presentation that we're doing, it would be good. Stan says people are nicer on Threads. Yeah, there's no doubt that Threads is good. I'll have to have a poke around your Threads. Is your Threads Kangaroo Island TV? Is that your handle on Threads? I've got the same handle on Threads as I have for my Insta, which is just the Bird Emergency. I probably should spend a bit more time. I'm pretty time poor while I'm setting up all these new things. That takes a lot of time. Okay, Kangaroo Island Stan. There we are. If anyone wants to follow Stan on Threads, that's where you can do it. I probably already follow you, do I, Stan? If I've got you on Insta, but I will check that out today. All right. Well, look, that is all I've got for you. Thanks for joining us again. If you're watching this in the future and you're watching the replay, these Saturday mornings are really about interacting and solving some problems or raising some issues, as well as giving you some tips. And then we'll be following up with the, calling the handouts, but really just a newsletter post with all the information that you need that has come out of the conversation on a Saturday. Quite excited. I've been watching those Osbreeds and I only just realised who it was. Stan, you were watching back when Holly and I started doing these sort of gardening things where we got Mick Callan on a couple of times. And do you remember when we had Dan from Plants Grow here on any of them? I'm pretty sure you were watching back then. But that Osbreed dude that we were watching was definitely, I'm sure, Dan from Plants Grow here. So yeah, and here too. There we are. There's Loz. Loz in front of a green screen, so his green is disappearing. Fantastic. You're being very good today, aren't you? Ready for a bath. Lots of noisy miners making some noise outside today. Another question too. Would you like? No, I'll leave that until next week. We'll leave that till next week. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for all the people on Twitter who don't seem to be interacting, and hello to Twitch. I know there's always someone on Twitch. Yeah. Oh, you don't remember Dan. I did think that what I would do is repackage and rebroadcast on some of these Saturdays. After we do the sort of normal bit, I might extend the stream a little bit and replay some of the really old Habitat gardening stuff that was when Holly and I first started talking about it. And I think I did one with 100 plants for small birds, and so may as well play that stuff again and give people an idea. Or maybe I'll just remake them, but as a flasher video that's been properly edited, and probably that's probably the best use of the time. So yeah. All right, Stan, thank you. Have a great Saturday. Water the garden if it's going to be a stinker. I don't know what your South Australian weather is. We've already got a pretty hot day starting here, so I guess you're going to be hot. Thanks, Glenn. Enjoy walking around the marvellous Mount Annan Botanic Gardens. Kind of jealous. And the rest of you Habitat gardeners, just get out there and give it a go. That's all I would like to encourage you to do. I'm Grant. I'm a bird nerd. I'm a horticulturist plant nerd as well. This has been Habitat Gardening on the Bird Emergency. That's Loz, and he says goodbye as well. See ya.